folks, KILT-MAN here, KILT-MAN at your services. I hope you're all doing very, very well. The kilt of the day is the Douglas. Hey, it's a Douglas tartan. And the talk of the day is Rogue Trooper. Who he, KILT-MAN? Who Rogue Trooper you speak of? 2000 AD, the greatest British sci-fi comic ever. It might also be the only British sci-fi comic ever. No, it isn't, but it certainly is the best and one of the most influential of comic books upon the genre. In movies, games, books, everything. Judge Dredd. Say no more. Yes, we had Sylvester Stallone playing Judge Dredd for Danny Cannon back in 1996, was it? 1995? And don't tell everyone, but I like the movie. I do. It's actually a great adaptation of Judge Dredd. Except they commit the cardinal sin of taking his helmet off and showing his face because he has the face of Stallone. Big mistakey. But the film itself is colourful, energetic, full of comic book excitement and set pieces, and it brings in the Angel Gang with Mean Machine Angel. Fantastic stuff. And you've got the curse there. They bring in an ABC warrior, but it's all part of the same universe. I like it. You're hearing the score from Alan Silvestri to it right now. Of course, it was done properly back in, when was that? 2012 by Pete Travis in the film Dredd, with Carl Urban playing Judge Dredd. And you had Lena Headey in there as Mama in the Pineapple Groves, Pineapple Towers, Pineapple Building, whatever it was called. And it became a war zone. And it was magnificent. Also some of the best 3D that I've ever seen. Thoroughly exciting, pugilistically, brutally violent. And exactly what Judge Dredd the comic strip was all about. And it should have spawned 2 more movies for a prophesied trilogy. Never happened because of the most ridiculous distribution ever. They killed the movie off. It was a lousy presentation of what turned out to be a cult classic movie. Rumours abound that they're still going to return to it. They're going to do another one. Even more rumours abound even further that it's going to be a TV series. I'll take either. I don't mind. I want more Dredd. Now, as well as Judge Dredd, you had Strontium Dog, an irradiated mutant bounty hunter with his big towering Viking-like cyber buddy, Wolf. That was great. Everyone talks about that getting a film adaptation. But no, what we're going to get is Rogue Trooper. Oh yeah. Now Rogue Trooper, certainly as you can see, my young protege here, Mr. Kentucky Fudge, it's his favourite comic strip character. And he's dressed himself up as the Rogue Trooper. Now, who is the Rogue Trooper, you ask? Set in the future on a planet called New Earth. There's a war going on, a civil war, and it's based roughly, well, not roughly, kind of most overtly on the American Civil War. But it brings in other wars as well. It's an analogy of wartime exploits, battles, massacres, daring do, and vengeance. And you have the Norths versus the Southers. So the North versus the South. But in this case, the Norths are the bad guys, fascistic bastards. And the Southers are like basically the Confederacy. But they're fighting for good. Well, at least we're on their side because that's who the Rogue Trooper fights for. And what is the Rogue Trooper? He's a GI, a genetic infantryman. He's been modified, he's super steroidally built, pure combat warrior. And he's blue-skinned, and he's a mean motherfucker. He's a badass. And you've got an entire division of these guys. Now, the planet New Earth is chemically irradiated. Other people have to use chem suits to move around in, or they live in big domed cities and that, like a bit like Logan's Run, I suppose. And but the war still rages. So this battalion of GIs, genetically modified infantrymen, are dropped in a big, para drop. It's going to be a major assault, but they've been led into a trap. They've been set up by the traitor general himself, who sets them up. He's a double agent, and the entire battalion gets wiped out at the Quartz massacre or something. Quartz Mine massacre. Can't remember now. It's a long time since I read this, because this came out in 1981, and it was created by, hold on a second, Jerry Finley Day and Dave Gibbons. And wow, did it blow you away when you were a kid. Anyway, one survivor, rogue trooper. And what they've got a great concept of, these troopers have they've got a biochip inserted into their brain, and what that does, that captures your personality at the moment of your death. So what Rogue does, 3 of his killed in action comrades, he manages to take their biochips and he puts one into his gun, who becomes Gunner, one into his helmet, who becomes Helm, and one into his backpack, he becomes Bagman. And these personalities, they can talk, they can communicate, they're alive, they're sentient, and they are their old characters. And they're violently unstable. One's a womanizer, and they bicker and banter with Rogue, who then, he makes it his one rogue trooper mission of vengeance to go and find the traitor general and kill him. But over the course of years and years of sagas and stories, collected stories and offshoots and sort of sidequels and prequels and all that, he encounters millions of bizarre characters. There's an entire community of soldiers from both sides who live together, sort of, in a kind of West Wales sort of thing, where you've got some who dress up as Romans, some who dress up as, I think, cowboys, some who dress up as English warriors from I don't know, I can't remember. But they've all got PTSD, and it's how forward thinking was this? And like 2000 AD in general was massively prescient about so many things and influenced so many other movies and books and TV shows. The look, style, and the political stance in 2000 AD was kind of bizarre. Judge Dredd was ultra right wing. He was Dirty Harry of the future, but even more ruthless and severe. He didn't give a shit. He wouldn't ask questions. He'd just shoot. He'd shoot first, second, and third, and then carry on shooting. That's the mentality, because it was born out of a Labour and then Tory dominated tyranny in the UK and subjugation of the working classes. It was very political, but as a kid you didn't understand any of that. You just wanted carnage, and boy did you get it. Brilliantly written, fantastic artwork, and great iconic characters. And Rogue Trooper encounters so many bizarre entities, and you've got there's lots of vicious women. In fact, most women he encounters are actually double agents, and they're real badasses. But it was a great kick in the chunks of wartime type stories. Now he's getting his shot at the big screen. Oh yeah. Now it's been talked about quite a bit, and a good few years ago they were going to do this, and then it kind of went quiet, and then the news came yesterday that Duncan Jones, David Bowie's son, the guy that directed Moon with Sam Rockwell, the magnificent Moon, he then did Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal, which is, it's okay. The idea had been done before, but it was alright. And did a film called Mute, which I've not actually seen. Mute as in, you can't speak, not like mute as in a mutant. I don't think, anyway. But I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on that. But Moon is fantastic. And Duncan Jones is a visionary filmmaker. So what he's done, they've done it, in fact. The film, principal photography has been completed. All the cast, and I'll read you up, all the cast members have done their job. And now it's being handed over to the animation department. Sorry, KILT-MAN, did you say animation there? Yes, I did. It is an animated movie. Now, already I know people have gone I'm not interested in this. Once I heard the word animated, because I put stuff on Facebook about this yesterday, and people were tuning out. I was really interested until you mentioned animated. Oh, God, I can't do this. And I've had people messaging me, is it really an animated movie? Oh, I thought it was going to be live action with loads of special effects. Hold your horses. Hold your genetically modified horses. what they're doing, they're using the Unreal Engine 5, right, to animate this. Yeah, I know. I had to ask my son about this. My son uses it because he's a games designer for Sony PlayStation. Yes, he knows his stuff. And it's the industry standard platform for creating games and doing the best sort of CG animation. The other engines are available, but this is numero uno, even though it says number 5. But he uses that, he knows how good it is. And I said, would I be wrong in assuming that they've used a bunch of real actors and they say that they've completed principal photography, that they've mocapped them and that gets fed into the computer and the system and the engine, number 5, and that's how it gets produced. So you've got live action, but it's been CGI'd over. A bit like the rotoscoping, remember that? Lord of the Rings and Fire and Ice and a few other movies where you've got real actors performing in front of the cameras, and then they draw over them to create this really sort of surreal, very bizarre looking characterization on camera. So it's animated, but the movements are real. They're just simply drawn over a real person. So that's what they're doing with this. They'll all be in mocap, you know, the Andy Serkis style dots on a wetsuit, and then it'll all be put into the computer and bingo, we're away. Now, they've only released one image from this so far, and you know, it's probably not even going to be in the movie, although I don't know, but it could be. It might even be the thumbnail on this video. I haven't decided yet. You tell me, because you clicked on this on that thumbnail, so you tell me, did I put it in or did I use something else? At this point in time, I do not know. But it looks great. He's big, he's muscular, he's blue skinned, and he's got glowing eyes. He's got a big helmet, he's got a big gun, and a big backpack, all of which can talk to him. And I say they have these great, really very surreal bicker banter between themselves, but they encounter so many oddities and crazy scenarios that it's going to be amazing. It's going to have battles aplenty. I presume it will start off with the massacre, because the premise, the plot line of this movie, which is just threadbare, is that he's on a vengeance odyssey quest across this war-torn planet to try and find the traitor general. So it is the basic story. That's all you can ask for, isn't it? I shall now read out the cast of this. Okay, we have Aneurin Barnard, and I should have written down what he'd been in because I've forgotten now. Hayley Atwill, oh my god, gorgeous. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, she's in that, and of course she was in Captain America. She was his mole. And Captain America was a genetically modified super soldier, but he came before this. So we're going to talk about the influences that this has had on other stuff, but certainly Captain America has crept into the DNA of Rogue Trooper just a little bit. Jack Lowden, Reece Shearsmith, yes, a field in England, and inside number 9, League of Gentlemen. Fantastic actor. Great comedy presence, but a brilliant, very versatile actor as well. Alice Lowe, Asa Butterfield, and get on this, Sean Bean, yes, he's there too. Sadly, knowing Sean Bean, he won't last too long, but at least he's in there. Now, obviously, I don't know who's playing who. I presume Aneurin Barnard, who's the A-lister, the top name, is playing the Rogue Trooper, I presume. But again, could be wrong, because no one's actually come out and said who they're playing. Hayley Atwill, I don't know. The biochip comrades in his gun, in his helmet, in his backpack, they were all male. You can imagine that they might have slipped a female in there. I'm only making a supposition there, I don't know. And they may not, they may remain true to it. But there were female soldiers. I mean, you had Venus Blue Jeans was one of them. And there are many devious female characters that can be encountered on the course of this mission. So, lot of scope there. Rogue Trooper. Now, if you think about it, it's definitely influenced the likes of, say, RoboCop, possibly even Terminator. Now, we know Terminator came from Holland Ellison and all that. All the controversy surrounding the origins of Terminator. A big settlement by James Cameron out of court, you know. But the likes of a big, muscular, unstoppable super soldier in a future landscape waging a sci-fi war. Its tendrils reach far and wide. So RoboCop, Terminator, what else did I write down here? Universal Soldier, very obviously. And Soldier with Kurt Russell, which, there's a film I so long to love and so don't. Oh yeah, King Kurt looks amazing. He's really buffed up and ripped to fuck. A severe, proper flat top, big American military flat top. Looks great. It says about, I think 13 lines of dialogue in the entire movie, but that's not the point. The point is it's actually pretty damn boring. Despite having some great action scenes and a fair bit of violence, it's posturing, and it's so self-conscious, that movie, that it takes me out of it every time. And my hero is there. It's King Kurt. Anyway, Starship Troopers. Okay, that was Robert Heinlein's original novel. But yeah, there's elements of 2000 AD and certainly Rogue Trooper. The armaments, the landscape, you're fighting in a sci-fi battlefield. It's all there. What else did I put down? Oh, that was it, I think. But I am way looking forward to this. Now, they finished principal photography. Now it's going to be mapped into the computers, and they're going to generate everything and create the landscapes and the interactions and all that. And, you know, I know from my son doing his work how long it takes to do, especially if you're on your own, how long it takes to do one little thing to put it into a 3D engine and all that, and how frustrating it can be. Now, this will have the best people in the business doing it, I'm sure. And so, funny, my son didn't get the call though, I don't think. But it's going to take another year before this is completed properly. So you're not going to see Rogue Trooper on any screen, and I don't think it's going theatrical. I think it's actually going straight to streaming. I'm sure I read that somewhere. And you won't see it till 2025. Simple as. But I think it'd be worth holding your breath for, because the imagery in the comic, which they're going to adhere to, is spectacular. It's grim, it's brutal. The landscapes and the settings are gorgeously exotic and bizarre. The violence is raw and unflinching. And it's just a big epic sci-fi thing. Sci-fi never dies. There's so many movies coming out all the time, which, you know, it's a one-hit wonder sort of thing. But the idea is it's world building. If it's successful, they'll make more. So you've got so many other little franchises and little one-off movies which have big ideas, grandiose new mythologies to explore. So this has already got, it's already using, you know, it's mining from the best seedbed possible, which is the original comic books. So it can't go wrong. Well, they can go wrong, but I believe in Duncan Jones. I know source code wasn't quite up to the standard of Moon, but it'd be hard to replicate that. Moon was such a classy, moving, tragic, clever, intelligent, mysterious, otherworldly movie that it was hard. It was lightning in a bottle. It's hard to recapture that. But this material, Rogue Trooper, and going off in a much more violent tangent, yeah, I think he can do it. So I've got a quote from Duncan Jones about this. This is what he said. 2000 AD offers a very, hang on a minute, I can't read my own writing. 2000 AD offers a very different flavour of comic action, political and brutal at times, but always with a Python-esque twinkle in the eye. That is true. Dread was a taste of what 2000 AD has to offer. He means the movie Dread with Carl Urban. And now we get to show the world another side of the beast, as in Rogue Trooper. It is a genuine privilege to be given the opportunity to make Rogue Trooper. Sorry, I still didn't stammer there because I can't read my own writing. What about you guys? I find it very, very hard to actually, with a pen clutched in my jittery fingers, to scribe stuff onto paper now, because you're always using a keyboard, you're always tapping little digits and stuff. You're not actually dexterously moving a pen across paper, and it's very hard to do it now. So I struggle to write it, but far worse is the struggle to try to read it afterwards. But I like what he said there. I mean, obviously you're going to get all the hyperbole and all that. Oh, I've always wanted to do this. That's what everyone says. Like Danny Cannon, who made the Stallone Judge Dredd, was a self-proclaimed the biggest fan of Judge Dredd, and he made a good Dredd movie. No. But the studio and Stallone insisted the helmet comes off. I'm the star here. You've got to see this much. You've got to see this. You know. So Danny Cannon's hands were tied there, but he got all the flack for that. I don't think that's deserved or justified. He made a great sci-fi, colourful, full of effects, exciting set piece, spectacle, and it was great. Okay, you had Rob Schneider in there, but Jesus. But you had the Cannibal Clan, you had Fink Angel, you had Pa. It was great. The Angel Gang were the things that I loved most of all about Judge Dredd. Oh, and Judge Death, who you see behind me here, Judge Death. See, that was the idea as well. With Travis doing the first Dredd movie, they were going to... Well, I don't know if it was them that said it, the makers and the writers. It was the fans sort of put the idea across that it's going to culminate in meeting Judge Death from another dimension. They judge that all crimes committed by the living. So, in other words, if you're alive, you're a criminal, and we're going to kill you. We're going to execute you. Simple as. So they're wiping out life wherever they find it, regardless of guilt or not. And but whereas Dredd was very much grounded in, well, it didn't even look that futuristic. They filmed it in South Africa, and was it Joburg? I think it was. And but massive sort of skyscrapers, and okay, you had high velocity super weapons, but there weren't a great deal of robotics and cars and motorbikes looked like cars and motorbikes of today. So nothing was massively souped up. So to go from that sort of very grounded, gritty, realistic take on Dredd, a sort of near future, to go to a dimension hopping demon judge from hell, that's quite a leap. You'd have to have a middle stage where a bit more mutants were going to be shown and a bit more maybe off-world stuff being shown to broaden your outlook, to accept perhaps Judge Death being involved in it. But as a standalone movie, Dredd is a supreme example of action cinema, and I love it, and the 3D is extraordinary. Cheers, y'all. And the slow-mo, they take a drug called slow-mo, it slows everything down, but you see it slowed down, and in glistening, multi-dimensional 3D. It's breathtaking. Cheers, y'all. Now, I would expect Road Trooper to... I don't think it's going to be in 3D. No one does 3D now, do they, apart from James Cameron? But I would suspect it's going to look absolutely ravishing with these bizarre alien landscapes. Lots of kinetic battles and, this enigmatic blue muscle-bound guy strutting about. I can't wait for it. I genuinely can't. When the news broke, and Duncan Jones. Doug Jones is the big, tall, skinny guy who plays monsters. He's Abe Sapien for Guillermo del Toro in Hellboy. And why can't we get another Hellboy movie from Guillermo del Toro with Ron Perlman? Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for this. I think it'll look and sound fantastic. And I will keep you updated as to any more info that comes through. If you're wondering why Escape from New York's there, it's because I was thinking, did John Carpenter take some inspiration from 2000 AD? Very possibly, but not from Road Trooper, because that came out in 1981, was written the year before, and Road Trooper only debuted in 81. But I thought, look at the blue cast on our Pliskin. I thought, that'll do. That'll tag in quite nicely. And if you're wondering why I didn't put any Road Trooper comic books up there, It's because I couldn't find any. I have them. I have some collected omnibus editions, and I've got some very old 2000 AD comics as well, or progs as they were called by Tharg. I can't find any of them. It's always the way with me. I was I'm going to set up the background, the studio, with all bits and paraphernalia which are to do with what I'm going to be talking about. And then when it comes down to it, I can never find them. I know they're there, but I just can't find them. And it's fucking labyrinthine warren of a mansion. So yeah, there's a lot will come out about this before the film actually makes its debut. And as I say, there's people who are openly dissing it. Oh, because it's animated. I don't think Duncan Jones was going to command the kind of budget to make this live action. And it would cost a lot to have these sort of Unreal engines working overtime to try to create fake and false landscapes and characters. The technology is not going to be cheap, is it? But if you had the real actors and a landscape which you've had to manipulate, photographically, and sets that you've had to build, locations you've had to go to, extensive stunt work, and that's going to cost even more. So at least we're going to get Rogue Trooper now. Now you've got to remember, Rogue Trooper was actually just a 2D comic panel. So to have like a proper, fully immersive, great CG animated vista, that's the most logical step yet. And if this makes money, which I hope it does, then obviously you may be able to springboard to a live action version. But I'm really, really happy that we've got this coming. I wish there was more from 2000 AD coming. I wish there was more Dredd. If this is a big success, this could actually give Dredd, the leg up that he needs. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think. Do you even know who Rogue Trooper is? You do now. They have these things called the Scum Marines as well, and the Sun Legion, and they've got a Scum Sea. It's great. There's so many different situations transpired in that comic strip, and they also have backstories when they're being trained and all that. So you got to meet these characters who then die and become the sort of I should have said, the reason why they put these personality sort of brain chips in is that if they're killed in action and you can retrieve that and you can get back to Milcom, I think it's called Milcom, who's the headquarters, they can be reproduced, they can be brought back to life, given a new body. And throughout the course of the comic strip, I think a couple of them, he does get them back, and they come back, but they come back as babies, and yet time goes by and he ends up working with them again at some point. And I think one of them gets, I forget which one it is, I think it's the helmet one, who's the ladies' man. He comes back in a new body, and he gets married, and then about a fortnight later, he degenerates because it's a fault. The actual genetics involved in bringing him back were faulty, and he ends up melting away. Oh God! So you might think, oh, it's the key to eternal life. Not quite. Still fraught with disaster and danger. Once again, cheers you all, and oh dear, that's coming to an end very soon. But yeah, I'm going to be back a bit later on because we have an unboxing to do. Yay! You know him, you love him. Steve 007 Smith, the guy that sends all of these fantastic canvases that you see bedecked around the walls and the halls of KILT Mansion. He messaged me this morning. Only this morning he said, there's a canvas arriving today. Big mystery one. This time I'm not going to give you any clues at all. And it's here, it's turned up, so I'm going to open that later. Now, you regular viewers know, he gives me clues as to what's going to be in, what the movie is on the canvas. And then I'll sit here when I unbox it, and I'll go through all my sleuthing process. It could be this, it could be that, but I think it's this. And then I open it, and I reveal it to you guys first. And yeah, 95%, I'm clinging to that. 95% of the time, I'm right. I've got it, I've worked it out. I might go around the houses to work it out sometimes, but I do work it out. Now this time, he's not, I'll let you know what he said. He said, no clues. But all I'll say is that I don't know much about this movie. That's what he said. And, what was it now? I watched 30 minutes of it. Couldn't understand where it was going and what it was about. And never watched any more of it. And I've hated it ever since. He says, just open it and go with the flow. I don't know if that's a clue. Go with the flow. I won the Shell Research Prize for Literature. Hey, ching! Way back. And for a short story I called Going with the Flow, which I'll tell you about one day. And I might even read it out to you. But it was award winning. And it got me a publishing deal. Now, I don't know if he's referencing that at all. Or is he? Because it seems a bit of a weird phrase to use. But because he said he's hated it ever since, Steve, I know of 3 films that I know you don't like, but I love. Because we have discussed it. And straight away, and I mean absolutely straight away, I thought, I've got this. But time's gone by, and then I thought, there's actually there's another couple. But one of them, I'm not saying what any of these are, by the way, until the next video. But one of them, it can't be, because you've already sent me a canvas for it. And I'll put that in the background of the unboxing video. So unless you've made a mistake and you've sent it again, which I don't think you've done that, then it's down to two possibilities. But I know you don't like them. I know you don't. But one is, they're 2 candidates, but one is right up there. I mean, really up there. It's a total, well, they're both Marmite movies in many ways. But one, because I know that my wife hates it as well. Absolutely hates it with a vengeance. And in fact, watching that, she watched it before she became Mrs. KILT-MAN. She didn't even know me at the time, but she watched it and it totally put her off an entire genre forever. So that's how badly she took to this movie. And I know you feel the same way about it as well. So, but there's another one. There's 2 which I know you really don't like, and don't get the adoration for. Don't really understand what it's all about. Anyway, I'll open that in a wee bit. So, folks, in the meantime, in this ever rogue trooping in between time, please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. If you're not a genetically modified infantryman, keep your chem suit on as well. And I'm going to see you all. And is anything wrong with talking to your helmet?